Hey guys, welcome back. Tisha here, back for another Sister Wives Season 12 review. Well, actually, it's the first one because it's Season 12, Episode 1. Let's get into it. So, we begin this episode finding out that Tony's family is coming to have dinner with the Browns. The Browns are concerned because Tony has told them that there is going to be a language barrier. When he originally said it, wondered if this was just Tony being Tony, because weren't we told that McKelty and Tony's mom get along and that she was help teaching McKelty how to prepare some things? So there has to be some level of comprehension there, right? Christine is panicking because they're polygamous and she doesn't know if they're going to struggle with them being polygamous. I feel like if they did, they wouldn't have even come over for the invite. It's obviously not something that they're worried about. She's also worried that they'll be upset with her because she did not originally accept Tony, even though she loves him now. I think if anything, that's probably what I would have been concerned about, but it doesn't seem like that was even an issue. Everyone is making sure to continuously point out that Tony's family is Mexican and that his parents speak little English. We get it. Tony already told us that his parents have been here for several years, evidently by the fact that Tony was born in the United States. And at this point, Tony is 20 something years old. So you don't have to keep acting like at this point they don't understand when to look to their son or someone else for interpretation if they need it. According to Tony, some of his family thinks that it's cool that Cody is a polygamist. Of course, Cody loves hearing this because this is an opportunity for him to puff his chest while he sits on that perch. Tony and his sister and brother arrive. They watch and assist the family as they gather the tables and set them up for dinner. During the setup for the dinner, Cody points out that the way that they have the tables is too tight. It's just too tight. And everybody in the family can't fit. To me, that was a simple fix. All they needed to do was, instead of having 3 tables combined, they should have just had 2, put one off to the side, have the younger children sit around that table. But because everything that the Browns does is an issue, we have a whole segment about the way that these tables are arranged. Cody is annoyed because no one is listening to what he's thinking the seating suggestion should look like. He's sweaty and he's being huffy and overly critical. And you hear him kind of fussing a little bit with Christine and I think McKelty and some of the moms as well, letting everybody know that some of the dinner guests are going to be too big to sit this close to each other. He points out that Tony and his brother, I think his brother's name was Lito, are way too big to sit next to each other. I don't think it's a good idea to insult your guests like that, especially when they're right there, but they didn't take offense to it. Cody lets us know that the seating arrangement was arranged by an emotional woman, not an engineer. I don't like how Cody always finds ways to speak negatively in regards to Christine, because he's blaming Christine for this arrangement, even though a lot of the other wives, example, the bird, agreed with him. I think it's selfish. And I also think that what Cody does is verbally abusive, because why is she an emotional woman when you're the person who's being extremely emotional about where the table is and how the seats are, and you made a thing of this? Tony's family finally arrives and the Browns are still trying to get it together. They walk in, there's a lot of hugging, a cringy toast from Cody, and more talk about contract marriage. I can tell already in watching this, I wrote into my notes that I'm going to be annoyed by this episode. The bird is explaining that there is a lasagna, one that has meat and one that doesn't have meat, and she looks at Tony, asking Tony to explain it to his parents. He cracks a joke and doesn't do it. I don't think that they had a problem understanding what she was saying in that moment. I think that maybe they might have had a problem responding to it, maybe. After all, the American language takes so many different languages that they say is one of the hardest ones to learn. McKelty points out that there are times where she'll ask Tony to interpret something for her, or the mother will ask Tony to, and he'll just make a joke about it and he won't do it, even when it comes to her. And for me, that's not funny. That's annoying. I'm trying to build a relationship with your family, and you're sitting here cracking jokes when I'm trying to learn the best way to communicate with them. But Tony's childish. Christine asked Tony's mother to tell her some stories of when Tony was a child. She asked the parents for stories when Tony was a child, and they don't struggle to verbalize that Tony got into a lot of trouble as a kid. They all laugh, and Christine says McKelty was also a troublemaker too, that she used to touch things and say that Satan made her do it. And I was like, okay, I don't think that that's something that you want to tell the parents, but they laughed about it. They finish eating, and the women go into the kitchen and they're cleaning up as the men are sitting down. Tony and Cody are sitting there, they're relaxing. Tony tells everybody that Cody has 4 wives because they're all be in the kitchen cleaning up after him. It's supposed to be a joke, but Meri points out that Tony does seem to have a desire to follow more of the traditional roles. And the bird lets us know that even though Tony has this desire, that if McKelty doesn't want to do it, she's not going to do it. I don't know why the bird feels like she has to keep telling us over and over again that McKelty is her own person. Is she trying to make us believe that Tony isn't the bald eagle? Because watching him in this episode, Tony and Cody are very similar, more similar than I even thought of now. You can tell that Tony likes to hear himself talk. You can tell he likes to be seen. You can tell he likes to talk crack jokes that are not funny. He is annoying and he tries too hard, which is very similar to what I see in Cody. McKelty asked all the little ones, the little young ladies, to be her flower girls. You have Truly in confessional saying that she's not really excited about it because she's already done it at Maddie's wedding. I started laughing. Truly is so smart. And watching her and watching Solomon in confessionals, even though they're just a year apart, seems like night and day. You can tell that she grew up in an environment where they talked to her like she was a person and they didn't baby her, because she's so well at articulating her thoughts. And I love that about Truly, always have. Tony tells McKelty that he's very okay with the women doing all the housework and taking care of the man. Tony's asked Cody if he wants any more kids, and he says he's done at this point because he has 18 kids. The question was asked of Cody, but the bird, as always, has to interject. She says, unless he gets a divine inspiration, then we're done having kids. The question wasn't directed towards you. He said, Cody, I know you're so accustomed to being his mouthpiece, but this man can talk. Christine tells us that McKelty is baby hungry, that McKelty wants children immediately after she gets married, but that she and Tony have a financial plan that they're going to try to stick to first. She probably, in my mind, wanted to have a baby before Maddie. They're so young, and it just seems like everything is so boom, 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 boom. Outside, they're asked about polygamy, and Tony's father does a good job of trying to answer it in English, but he couldn't think of how to say support in English, so his mother finished it. Either way, they obviously can speak. The dinner went well and everybody enjoyed themselves. So we go from there to see Meri. Meri is finally going to talk to us about something other than being catfished. And I'm glad, because they drew out this catfish thing for multiple seasons, and truly, I'm over it. She lets us know that while driving to Maddie's wedding, Christine's mother, Annie, was in the vehicle with her. So they started talking about the history of this particular area that they were passing in Utah, and that there was this house there that used to be in Meri's family. She decides that she's going to visit this bread and breakfast in Utah that was once her, I believe it was her grandmother's home. It's either her grandmother or her grandfather's home, but it was their home. Meri tells us that she is obsessed with this house and has been for years, and she wants to buy it. She takes Christine's mother, Annie. They go check it out, even though she hasn't discussed this with anyone in the family. Now, I thought that that may be a problem, but later on, Christine reacts to it well. She doesn't get upset with the fact that her mom may be working for Meri, because the plan is that Meri's going to buy it and that Annie would live there, kind of be over operations and run it. She came to this conclusion without even talking to her. I said that. And then I wondered if Annie was trying to escape. But obviously, later on, we find out, more to that. Meri wants to buy the place and run it as a bed and breakfast as well as a wedding venue. I want to know if y'all know, has anybody gotten married there since Meri's taken over? Put it down in the comment section. Because even though the backyard looks nice, it wouldn't be anything that I was like, ooh, let's get married here. At least not in my opinion. She's so excited to buy this house from the lady who is thinking of selling it. With each room, she's getting more and more excited. Meanwhile, I'm not impressed. If we had this house, she's saying it would be perfect for any of their kids to get married. But girl, they don't want to get married there. I don't know why Meri thought they would want to get married there. Anyways, she wants to do this because she's been looking for something. And her and Annie are so excited, and Annie is all in. Meri says she really wants to do this, but she's going to have to run it by the family first, because her finances are tied up with the family because they do all things together. It's not true to me that they do everything together, but I get it. Meri decides to run the idea past Robin first because she's least likely to immediately shoot her down. Meri excitedly explains her idea to Robin, who just sits there quietly and is supportive. Meanwhile, as she's sitting there quietly and being supportive, you have Robin in confessional letting us know that she's worried about Meri being away from the family, even though in my mind, Meri is not ingrained in the family. It's like one minute y'all are worried about her leaving and all these other things, and they make this a thing for many, many seasons after she actually does purchase this thing. And it's like, why are y'all so worried about whether she's a part of the family or not when you don't treat her like she's a part of the family, and her husband doesn't treat her like she's a part of the family, and you all know this. You're okay with the emotional abuse. You're okay with the emotional and physical and mental and the neglect and all these things that he does towards her. Why would you be so bothered with her trying to do something better for herself? I just don't get it. It all comes back to me as finances. Now, they may say that it has to do with the religious aspect, but these people, in my opinion, are not religious. While they're talking, Leon walks in. Leon is barely in the door before they seem annoyed with Meri. It's question after question based on the part of the discussion that Leon walked in. Leon is there to bring Meri back to reality and shoot down what Meri is saying, because I don't think still at this point Leon wants to make their mom happy. Leon says, I just don't get it. Do you even have money for this? Meri says that she would need the family's help financially, and that Christine's mom would do the day-to-day operations of the place. And Leon clearly isn't feeling it. Robin lets us know that while Meri was being catfished, she was being fed lies about Meri. I wish she would have went into that more at that point, but she didn't. And I was like, okay, so this must be the part that everybody's talking about, where they tell us that Robin's family knew the catfish. I'm sure I'm going to get very irritated when it finally does come up. While Meri was involved with the catfish and pulling away from the family, Robin lets us know that it allowed for her and Christine to get close, which seems fine, but I think that Robin did it intentionally. I think Robin wanted to hurt Meri for Meri doing this, and that was the best way that she could do it. Because in confessional, when production is asking Meri about the situation and about Christine and Robin getting closer, Meri gets very teary-eyed and says that she doesn't want to talk about it because them getting closer is hard for her, which sounds really insane to me. But Meri really thought that by bringing Robin into the family that she had a sisterhood and she had an ally, and she really didn't. The bird latches on to whatever is going to help propel her to the highest branch. And in this case, you're acting up. Cody isn't liking you right now. Let me go ahead and jump on to Christine. Learn some of the things that Christine does. Try to pull from her the same way I try to pull from every other wife in here, so I can create the image that I'm the one. Robin says, do me a favor, and when you tell them, when you make this announcement, understand that it may take them time to sink in. Don't be offended. Know that Cody may act a certain way, but he'll think about it and then he may change his opinion. And I'm like, okay, the fact that everybody knows that Cody says one thing in one moment and then later comes back and says something completely different lets me know that Cody very much so has different talks with various wives to come to certain conclusions, because he does it a lot where he does this flip-flop. We saw him do it with Christine, where Christine in season, I think it was 16 or 17, was saying that she wanted to leave and go back to Utah, and Cody agreed with her. And then when he got around the moms, he completely switched it and act like he didn't want to go, or like he didn't say the things that we saw him say. It's his MO. It's what he does. Meri says she's nervous and she wants them to want this for her. She set herself up with asking them, though, because to me, this isn't a good idea while dealing with Mykelti's wedding. Okay. Mykelti and Tony time. The family takes Tony and Mykelti to look at various wedding venues. They're going to go to 3. Aspen is there too, because Aspen is going to be the maid of honor. They've gotten a lot closer. They're not like how they used to be. They meet the first potential wedding planner, and they quickly let it be known that Mykelti has multiple moms, because they love letting people know that they're polygamous. One of the first questions that Mykelti asks is, how many people can be held in this venue? And they are told that about 288 people can be held, which means this venue is not going to be big enough yet. For whatever reason, we're still looking at the venue. Tony is Mormon. Mykelti wants to be Mormon. So they've decided that even though in Mexican tradition, families bring in beers and they get to keep whatever alcohol is left over, that is not what is going to be done here, because Tony does not want any alcohol to be at this place. They talk about twinkle lights and having floating lanterns, and it's all a bit much to me. And I'm hearing the budget as they're talking going higher and higher and higher. The Sister Wives Closet isn't bringing anything, and the show was losing viewers. So I'm sure that some of what we're seeing in this is honestly a true reaction. I feel like a lot of us have come to the conclusion that TLC did pay for this wedding, but I don't think TLC paid for the entire thing, because I don't see them being this concerned about the numbers, even though they do act. I also don't feel like at this point the show is getting the views and it didn't have the popularity that it had before. They probably gave them a budget, and Cody very quickly and the family saw that the budget was being blown. But they should have had discussions with them prior, letting them know how much they were willing to pay, so that it forced them to scale it back, because it's real easy for you not to be concerned about something when it's not your money. And even if TLC was paying for it, the fact that Maddie wasn't so frivolous with the money, and they seem like they are, to me, shows how selfish not only Mykelti is, but Tony is as well. We find out that the colors are maroon, silver, teal, and yellow. Very weird combo to me. I don't understand what kind of combo is that, but we're told that Tony wanted maroon and silver and she wanted teal and yellow. So that was their compromise. This is the wedding of the year, and Mykelti and Tony announced that they are expecting about 400 guests because they're going to be inviting 500. Cody is shocked. They both have a large family and they both have a lot of friends, but I'm confused because where were these friends throughout the season, especially when it came to Mykelti? They went from talking about their friends to them saying that there may be a lot of people, because with Mexican families, what they do is you can invite other people to the wedding and all these other things. I don't know if that's true, but there's a very easy way to change that, and that's to say you can't invite anyone. Make it clear to them that this is for you and your children, and that's it. Say no kids at the wedding. Like we've seen over the years, people do different things to keep the numbers down. Cody is getting frustrated because he's realizing that TLC isn't going to pay for all of this. I said that already. I think Cody saw the budget flashing before his eyes. He says, I was never consulted here. This is sounding outrageously expensive. Sorry, Cody. This has went from being your show to the Tony show. And now you're getting an opportunity to see how your wives feel when you do some of the outlandish things that you do. Mykelti starts to get nervous about how much this will cost her parents, but she doesn't stay there long because Tony doesn't care, because he's expecting for the family to pay for it. And he isn't worried about it because the family's going to pay for it. He says, don't worry about it. People have big parties all the time. Sure, they do. And most of the time, the people that are having those big parties aren't responsible for serving an entire meal to a large crowd. Maybe they have like appetizer, finger food type stuff, but an entire meal where people are supposed to be satisfied. A lot of those people who are having these large parties probably also aren't bratty college students, or those people actually have jobs. Because at this point, Cody and Mykelti do have a job, I think, but they're still in school. So it wasn't anything that could manage to help really pay a significant amount to this wedding. The next step is food. We find out that Tony and Mykelti want vendor trucks, but most event spaces are not going to allow outside food because they're basically told that at every venue. They announce that for the food, they're going with something simple. They don't want plated dinners because in their mind, plated dinners cost more, which is true, it can. Buffet style, I feel like it's cheaper. Instead, they want to have handmade tacos for 400 people. And I'm saying handmade because the way that they're describing this, where they're talking about, will y'all have the griddle and this and this and this, they want them to actually hand make the tortillas and all of that stuff with the flour. They don't want any store-bought things. And I get what you're saying, but that is a interesting request for a venue, because a lot of times they don't have the staff that's going to be sitting there worried about personally making that stuff if they could go outside and buy it. Tony wants to make sure that they make actual street style tacos with shredded meat, not any ground meat. He talks about how when Mykelti's family makes tacos, they do it with the ground meat. He tells Mykelti that he doesn't want any of those white people tacos, or white tacos, I think he said. Something about something about white and tacos. I should have went back to make sure I heard right. I want the tacos with real steak, he says. You know, the good stuff in life. Tony estimates that their friends will consume at least 10 tacos each. So they're probably going to need about 4,000 tacos. And I'm like, okay, it is ridiculous for you to think that each person should get that many tacos. I don't know the size of these tacos because at one point Christine says that it's not big, it's like this. But they don't need 400 tacos. We get some rice and things of that nature that will help fill them. That's not as expensive to create. Something simple, but these people are selfish. Christine says, we want to give her a good wedding, but we don't want to feel like we're being taken advantage of. I agree with that. Overall, they like the venue, but they still want to check out the others. McKelty decides to then, as they're about to go to another venue, stop at the pawn shop because she wants Chris, her boss, to officiate the wedding. She says he's her Utah dad. She says, you offered me a job here. And if you hadn't offered me a job here at Family Pawn, I wouldn't have met Tony. She says Family Pawn a lot because she said it even before she walked in, which was like, okay, why do you keep saying the name of the place? Is this an advertisement for them? I don't quite understand. They ask him to officiate and he agrees despite not knowing much about officiating a wedding. He's honored. He's not sure, however, if the church will let him do it with McKelty's family being public. He speaks of how surprised he was that McKelty couldn't join them in the Mormon church because they do have ex-FLDS members there that came from Warren Jeff's portion of polygamy, and that they were able to be a part of their church. So he doesn't understand why McKelty couldn't. And we know it's because McKelty's family is public. But I still have a problem with the fact that she can't have her beliefs and the family can't have theirs. We see them at the next venue. They let them know that Chris is going to marry them. We don't care. And Cody is not bothered, but he is surprised that they're using Chris. Christine and Cody are freaking out, trying to figure out how they're going to pay for this wedding when Christine points out to McKelty that what she wants is going to be an obscene amount of money. You hear McKelty reply like, I know. And Tony's sitting there like, it's whatever. It's a lot of money. It's not our money. I don't like that boy. And this isn't helping me like him. I saw statements that he made recently on Patreon about Christine being selfish when it came to Robin's wedding and she shouldn't have reacted the way that she reacted. And I just need him to settle down and stop talking about his mother-in-law that way, because if you watch the show, you would understand why she would act that way. But you're so busy trying to kiss her butt, the bird, and to make sure that the bald eagle is okay with you, that you're willing to speak negatively about Christine. There's no need for you to do that in that regard. And I wish a lot of times that McKelty would shut him down, but she doesn't. I may do a say what on that because I'm like, who is he talking? Who is he talking about? Don't do that. There's no way that you would be allowed to go on a platform and speak negatively about either one of my parents when it comes to something like that. You don't know the situation. You're not the historian for the Brown family, and you really should sit down with your greasy tail, go take a shower, use a different type of shampoo and conditioner so you stop looking so unkept and so greasy and so just like you haven't taken a bath. He looks like, to me, whenever I see Tony, I feel like he needs a good scrub because he just seems not to care about his appearance. And it's okay to be casual, but there's a difference between casual and you looking like you're dirty. They arrive at the next space. The lady says that she's not sure if this place can fit 400 chairs. They basically told us that all the venues. Again, they cannot have outside vendors, and in this place, McKelty will have to get ready in the bathroom. They go into the bathroom. It's not a bad bathroom. It actually looks decent. They fake like they're getting ready in the bathroom. And at one point, Tony says, can you give me a tampon? I don't think it's funny. I just feel like everything is just with him. He just, They're told we can hold 300 chairs. McKelty is telling us that she doesn't know if they can get 400 chairs down there. Well, duh, the lady just told you that they can do 300. So why are you talking about the 4? They check out the areas that they'll get ready, as Tony says that he wants 2 life-size piñatas, one of the bride, one of the groom. They want to beat on it, and they're laughing. I'm just like, okay, these two are so freaking childish. I hate them. I mean, I don't really hate them, but you get what I'm saying. They end up picking the first place because they like the person who would be coordinating and doing things at the facility. They said that this place can fit 280 people, so I don't understand why they were picking that. Makes me feel like they pulled the 400 number out of the air. Later, Cody and the other wives tell us that McKelty and Tony are being unrealistic, and you hear Christine say that boy is outrageous, and he is. Back to Meri, who sits down all the adults to tell them about her plan to purchase this bread and breakfast. And Christine seems excited about this idea. We find out that one of the reasons why Christine is excited about it is because Christine always wanted a bread and breakfast herself. Cody and Janelle look completely over it, like they aren't feeling it. Oh, I said Christine wants a bed and breakfast. She doesn't have a bed and breakfast, but she does now have the Airbnb. So she kind of is getting to fulfill a part of her dream. That's cute. I just thought about it. You could almost immediately see that Janelle, when Christine is excited about this and when Meri is talking about it, is getting the figures and stuff in her head, because we know that that's what works for Janelle. Cody doesn't even try to hide that he's not feeling it. He immediately tells Meri that he's against the idea because it's not a big moneymaker. So I guess the Sister Wives Closet is a bigger moneymaker than I realized, since he's so quick to be on board with that, whereas he's more hesitant to be on board with this. I just love how quickly he shuts her idea down without completely reading anything, but he didn't do that for the bird. Because think about it, y'all. When Janelle wanted to do the gym, she was told that she had to come up with a business proposal. When Meri now is saying that she wants to do the bread and breakfast, she's being told that she has to come up with a business proposal. When the bird wanted to do the Sister Wives Closet, she wasn't told that she had to come up with a business proposal. They faked us and acted like she had one. Then when it was time for them to try to get further funding, which they never got to our knowledge, they had to come up with a business proposal. And everybody had to help with that. So why is it that it's just different treatment for different people? Cody doesn't like that the place is 3 hours away. I don't see why he has such a problem with it, seeing as to how he doesn't even like his wife. He's not having relations with his wife. He doesn't stay with his wife. He doesn't really interact with his wife. She was gone for a while when she went to go meet up with the lady who was also catfished, and she got back for several days, and his first time seeing her was when they went for therapy, which lets you know he doesn't go over there and see her, even though they live right in this cul-de-sac by each other. Eventually, Janelle gets on board because she says she's realizing that this house has meaning to Meri, and that she can tell that Meri is excited about this. She sees a sparkle in it, that Meri is very sentimental, and she has a huge attachment to a lot of things, that she has a lot of her grandmother's original pieces and things of that nature. But Cody still needs convincing. Cody demands to see their business plan before agreeing to let Meri use any of the money. I get it, but as I said, he didn't make Robin do it. Cody starts asking about consultants and pointing out that the place isn't near an airport, and then he wants to know if she spoke to the consultants to let them know, to find out from them what they think the profit would be and things of that nature, and lets her know that they're probably basically lying to her, that they are patronizing her according to him. The bird laughs because she's like, this is how Cody, after having all these wives, so easily steps into it. Basically, like he always puts his foot in his mouth. But that's how Cody really feels. You can't change the way he feels, but that's what she's going to do. She's going to go and talk to him, like she said earlier, give him time to marinate it on, and he may come back and change his mind. Cody starts asking, I already read that. Christine says Meri and Cody have a tendency to offend each other. So at this point, they're deflecting. So we're hearing like Robin keep telling Cody to fix his shirt because even though Cody has told us for years that he has a six-pack, his belly is making his shirt button pop open. They laugh about it. He says, it seems like I'm the only sane person here. This is what he says in confessionals. He tells them that after he realized this, that all his wives are into Meri's idea that he's the only sane one. And that is a scary thought. Christine is just thankful because she's told that, you know, Annie's going to run it. And Christine's like, that is so amazing. And she gets a little choked up because she says that originally her mother came here because her mother was helping her with the kids. But now Truly is in school and she doesn't need her as much. And there's not things for her mother to do. So the fact that this would give her mother something to do makes her feel great because she knows that her mother will be happy. Janelle is down as long as, you know, it's possible for them to have it financed. Robin is down. Cody says he wants a business plan, that he's the only sane one here. Robin says she's okay with it as long as Meri's not trying to distance herself. She wants her to make sure that she's in the family. He doesn't understand why the wives are so willing to support Meri because he feels like this is crazy. But I think maybe he was wrong here because she actually does have a bread and breakfast now. And given the way things turned out, it's good that she bought it because unlike Janelle, she has an actual home that is hers because Flagstaff didn't work out. You all, sorry if this was all over the place. I got a little confused by my notes at the end. I don't know how I'm going to do some of the next episodes because it like goes from episode 1 to I think I saw episode 4 on Max. I'm going to look around a little bit to see if I can find some of the other ones. Maybe somebody has something on YouTube. I don't know. I'll see. But hopefully I will be back with episode 2. We'll see. Thank you for joining me. Please like the video. It does help. We're on the road to 2,000. I know it's going to happen. Until next time.